Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you may be. Welcome to the 11th qualifier for Link to the Past Randomizer for SGL. This is actually quite, so we got, we're on week 3, last third of the qualifiers, and time has already flown by. This is actually going to be an extremely exciting match. We've actually got the Lane versus Airy, two very, very well-known names, not only in the community, but also very active, of course, in Germany. This is going to be an extremely exciting match. I'm joined today with Herfy. Herfy, how are you doing?
Hey there, Clear Mouse. I am doing well. I'm very excited to see this match. And as you were saying, time has flown by. We were here on the first qualifier, and now we're here 10 qualifiers later.
Yeah,
Back again.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, and like this, like the history of qualifiers so far has been, wow, quite the roller coaster. There's been so much excitement, and of course, like this particular race, I think I last checked the race room, it was 62 people, but I don't actually know if like towards the later set of the qualifiers, the quality of racers is going to, I don't know, like get better or something, but it's like the number of racers that like you see have like name brand recognition or like reputation that precedes them is just like ridiculous. Like at the stage, like don't let like it's like 60 people, but it's like 60 like ridiculously good people.
Yeah, it's really hard to say. I guess it depends a lot on time zones, when people have time, when they're available, when the qualifiers are, how much they've already run. We'll have to see. I don't really think it's ever safe to say, oh yeah, it'll get easier or harder the later the qualifiers are. I think you're not doing yourself any favors if you're waiting a long time.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. And of course, this particular time zone seems to actually be pretty friendly, or for EU people, right? We actually do see why one of the probably reasons we can actually feature Airy in the lane, both of course residing in Germany, but actually a lot of other German runners end up showing up. But also, it's not, I would say, considerably too early, for also like US people, US based people as well.
Yeah, it might be a little hard for West Coast people, I suppose, but East Coast, it's 10 a.m. It's not too awful.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we try to make it as friendly for everyone as possible when we select the qualifier times. Of course, it's always going to be hard because how are you really going to balance 15 qualifiers to make it good for everyone? But we tried our best, and I think it's worked out okay.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, the qualifiers certainly, at least the past 10 ones have been, I think, pretty well populated. And people are definitely trying to work out just basically like the 4 or 5 races that they can reasonably make, right? All right, so I guess yeah. So as we were talking about basically all the past qualifiers, actually the Lane and Airy have already, thanks to their boots, already gotten pretty actually deep into the back of the skate and try and rescue Princess Zelda. Doesn't actually look like they've gotten actually anything really interesting. I certainly noticed from our tracker. So Lucian, great. Thank you so much for doing all of the work in advance. There's actually hasn't been doing anything yet, so I guess it's going to be a preemptive thank you.
I mean, they're pretty much on the same steps here. 25 rupees or 75 now. 3 bombs. They're small key. They're doing the exact same thing. Obviously,
Yeah.
We're not going to see too much different stuff here at the start with the escape and everything.
Yeah, and they're picking up kind of like I would say like loose end items, right? They got a little bit of money, they got a little bit of bombs. Every little bit though is actually going to be especially a very common destination afterwards. After escape is going to be Kakariko. As long as they've got bottle vendor money, right? Got a couple bombs, so they don't have to go farm anything. In order to try and get like the back of the well or blindside. Always going to be kind of nice for convenience.
We've got the map out of the way here in Zelda Cell, so that's not going to be a thing that we'll have to worry about anymore in the rest of Escape.
Right. I do sometimes wonder if if runners just kind of go on autopilot for for a lot of Escape, right? And then they just kind of always open up the last chest. But hey, if you are diligent and on top of your item counting, right, you could actually save yourself a couple seconds at the end. And it's not going to happen, as you said today, Herfy. We've already gotten the map out of Zelda Cell. So hopefully in this case they won't actually forget that chest. I guess that's the flip side.
Yeah, we'll have to see about that. As you say, sometimes you're just on autopilot. You see a map, you're like, oh well, that's nothing, and then you just forget that you already picked it up 5 seconds later.
Yeah, so I certainly would not be worried for the lane. You know, he among I would say most NMG runners, you know, opening up that last chest in Sanctuary in order to get the safety for Sankar in normal NMG runs. I think the lane is pretty amenable to that. Airy though, on the other hand, he I believe and also you know a couple others are definitely not requiring the safety, so might need to break a little muscle memory for that.
Yeah, that's going to be. I was going to say earlier, I think, you know, Eri obviously an extremely good player all the way through the game, but I feel like this is probably the part of the game he feels most familiar with because it's just so similar to what vanilla usually has to offer, apart from the boots, obviously, right now. But, you know, that's not something
Yeah,
anyone will complain about.
Yeah, actually, I would say it probably is a little bit nicer on execution as well, where you don't have to pump your way through escape. In fact, you could just dash the whole way through. Yeah, and actually you can see like you know of course the lane and area making this look you know pretty easy. Well, easy enough at least, but you know you could actually like the way that they're I guess like using dash lines, right? Like how they're dashing is also I think very well practiced, right? You know, very clean. Basically, they know basically exactly like where to dash, so then. They don't end up bonking. What is the back of escape here?
What the
Oh
heck?
wow! Okay.
What's all this?
Yeah, we just gave our tracker a lot of work very quickly. Also, a nice full magic drop there on Aries' side. Okay, so we got a Master Sword and early silvers. Gonna be very nice when they eventually find that one bow.
The Ganon care package right at the start of the game.
Yeah. So maybe you know this is actually probably worth mentioning now. You know, for those of you who may not be too familiar, I guess, with some of the previous qualifiers, this is SGL casual boots. So definitely start with a sword and boots, obviously. But of course, you know, there are going to be a couple of key differences between maybe what we are maybe accustomed to for normal casual boot setting, and one of them actually is actually going to be a non-progressive bow. So you actually see that the silvers, in this case, are completely separate items, so they can't actually take advantage of any of the silver arrows until they actually find the one and only bow.
Yeah, that was a change specifically made for this mode because in the main tournament, if anyone watched that, the bows were still progressive items. And it made it sort of hard to read the logic sometimes because you never knew where the second progressive bow might be hiding and if that might have been the first one you were supposed to find according to the logic and everything. So
Yeah,
this is really just, you know, a help for the players, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's definitely actually a really good point. Is you know reading logic, especially as sometimes you know people have demonstrated. I think some of these past qualifiers actually can be very important. And of course, you know, also with another point, I guess with a non-progressive bow, you also don't have another potential bow that could potentially bail you out later on.
Yeah, that is one downside of it. So there's both upsides and downsides.
Okay, so looks like we actually get a little bit of divergence. Airy probably is going to take, I would say, a little bit more conventional routing. You know, getting out of escape is actually very convenient to go check Lumberjack, which I believe Lane and Aries both showed us that it was just a bottle. So potentially no Agatu, at least for that, because there are 3 more bottles out there. But however, if that is your first and only bottle early on, I don't know that you know, and Sick Kid has something that might actually you know be something in potential.
Yeah, they might want to keep that bottle in the back of their minds. We'll have to see. As you say, we can only get 2 bottles, but all 4 are placed. So there's plenty of bottles out there. Might not be the only one that we see. Might not be anything super important right now.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, you don't really want to leave stuff like that behind for too long.
All right, the late actually taking an early trip over to Akina. So this actually could be a potentially good check. Oftentimes it is a little bit out of the way, but maybe a little bit more amenable, you know, since you have the boots. And did Ari just find the ice rod in the well?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so bets on, yeah, I was gonna say bets on whether or not Turtle Rock is going to be a pendant.
Oh wow, and there's our
Okay, and
last
tempered.
sword.
Wow. Okay. So Kakariko is pretty loaded. So we got a Moon Pearl, and we're already on Temper Star. So especially for very experienced, I would say, execution runners. For example, for Area into Lane, I'm sure for many others, getting Temper Sword with boots, I mean, you're just super comfortable for the rest of the seed, right? You have a very high, let's say, offensive power. Lots of things basically die to one shot with the Temper Sword, and you're just much more accustomed to basically using the Temper Sword, right? Especially for like most of Dark World, for instance. And of course, Light World enemies just kind of melt, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Tempered Sword is probably a good example of a good offense is the best defense, because a lot of things do a lot of damage, especially when you only have 4 hearts and you're still in green mail, as we can see on the lane side right now.
Yeah,
But,
as we
with
can
a Tempered Sword.
we can also hear it on the lane side as well. Thanks, the lane. Appreciate your audio.
Oh yeah, wonderful double beep speed. Gotta love that.
Yeah,
You really,
heart on a
you really
heart.
want to be aware of the fact that you're in danger. So I can totally understand that.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Thelaine, for finding a heart piece in Mini Molder Cave. Probably that was the most valuable thing that he has located so far. Although Eri, though, looking actually going through Kakariko actually looks like actually a pretty good decision. So not only did he pick up Ether on Library, he also found the book in the back of the tavern. So this actually could be potentially some minor time save for Eri, just because the lane actually took an early trip over to Desert, right? Checked Agina, but he didn't have a book to actually go in. Eri, though, looks like he might potentially decide to take a peek into Desert, because he does have the option now.
Yeah, and it looks like that's exactly what he's doing. He might be checking Mini Moldorm before he goes over to Desert, or he might just go straight over to Desert. We'll see what he decides on. But with that book in hand, it's a bit more valuable than it was for the lane.
Yeah, and of course we are still missing a fire source, and so we can't actually get to the back of Desert, so that still might be a deterrent for some people. But at least, Eri, nice anti-fairy skip on Eri's side. You could tell that he knows a thing or two about NMG. That still might be a reason for maybe why Eri potentially wants to go over. The lane, though, give us some out of logic flipper checks. This is going to be Waterfall Fairy, so we are going to require the flippers, but of course, very commonly seen, especially in these qualifiers, to kind of be able to water walk your way over and quickly make these checks.
And with that cape now, if the lane goes back and finds the Moon Pearl, he theoretically has Dark World access if he wants to do Agate Tower, right? I mean, minus the lamp, I suppose.
Yes, that is actually a good point. So we have certainly seen players very capable of doing Aghanim Castle Tower in the dark. You of course logically need the lamp, but of course the lamp, for all you know, could just be sitting in like Eastern or something, right? So if you are going to have to do Aghanim and you're comfortable, or at least confident enough doing Agate Tower in the dark, it actually could save you some time. So you don't have to go all the way to Eastern and get the lamp and then go all the way back to the Castle Tower again, and then go back to Eastern later or something like that.
The lane is indeed going to check his Kakariko checks now coming in from the south side. Gonna start with the race game. I don't think we saw anything here yet. It's a blue rupee.
Yeah, no, and I think that's going to be actually like a true blue rupee. They haven't really picked up anything that it has been like worthwhile, like a replacement item or anything.
Mm-hmm. I guess Eri could be running into replacement swords now, or at least one of them.
Yeah, that's true. Man, you could just see it, like, I won't necessarily say these are considered to be little things, but they are certainly non-trivial things like that. Both Eri and Delane are just kind of doing. I guess I'm not sure if just out of like muscle memory or comfort, but you see them, spin speeding, on the stairs. Like basically every little thing that they're going to try and do to try and get themselves, some sort of speed execution. Right. This is just the little things all add up, and then suddenly it's like, oh, like Eri and Delane are 3 minutes ahead of like the next person or something like that.
Yeah, as you say, it all adds up. Every little thing counts. And for these two especially, it's probably just muscle memory to know where to dash, where to spin speed, where to do this or that.
All right, so it looks like the lane actually gave us a quick check from the sick kid. I just had bombs, so at least the early bottle, I guess he found in Nagina's cave, is actually not going to be as, I guess, pertinent. In this case, the area ends up never finding a bottle and then never checking the kid. I mean, he will get it. He'll probably get one eventually. Although I think we have seen in a qualifier actually earlier. I can't remember which qualifier it was, but they ended up having, I think, like no bottles, and I think most of the runners were on like Master Sword. You know, no safety Ganon, and that was quite the struggle for I think many a runner at the very end.
Oh yeah, that doesn't sound like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
All right, we're getting our first dungeon check. I'm remembering, like vaguely remembering a map check from the lane at the start, and I believe I saw 2 crystals and 1 pendant in the light world. I don't exactly remember where the pendant was, but it wasn't the green pendant, I think.
Yeah, and actually, thanks to I think one of the recent hotfixes, I think it was like version 0.10 or something like that. We actually can see in the upper left-hand corner of our side, just for I believe it was for mainly accessibility reasons, but we can actually see that there is a capital P stands for pendant, and then when we eventually go to a crystal dungeon, we're gonna get a C. We're good to get to see a C, capital C letter as well. Alright, so has Ari actually found anything in Eastern so far?
I don't believe so, no. I mean, it's been pretty empty so far, and without a bow, we can definitely not finish it, and we probably don't want to, seeing how it's dependent. Oh, well, there we go.
So pendant Eastern, of course, has value. So and despite all of the things that we've had so far, we are actually still 1 item away from a Dark World access. Whether that is another glove, another hammer, which is probably the most preferable for our runners. But of course, we are missing a lamp somewhere that actually could give us Aghanim Tower access.
It's quite interesting. I think we're missing 1 item from Easter now because Ari is continuing here. He found the gloves and the heart piece, so there's got to be something missing.
Yeah. So we know that Ari obviously showing us he's very comfortable with these Eastern dark rooms. We know that the logically the lamp cannot be here. And actually looks like it is just a map. So yeah, it looks like the last item is actually going to be on Armos, and you were right, Herfy. Because we don't have the bow, we cannot access the last item here.
That's a thing that people don't really want to see. You don't really want to leave 1 item behind on the pendant bus. I mean, it's so early in the seed when so much things are still open and you still have so many things to find. It's not as big of a deal, but it can definitely be in the back of your mind for the whole seed, basically.
Oh yeah.
Because you never know what item it is on Armos, and for all you know, it could be your go mode.
Yeah, it's quite painful when you have to maybe consider to dip a pendant dungeon, especially when you don't have, I guess, as much information you would feel comfortable with. So pendant Eastern, especially early on the light world, at least seeing people are probably more comfortable making a decision like this. But certainly, once you got Dark World access and you have a lot more options to open up, and then you gotta like pick basically between Pendant Dungeon 1 and Pendant Dungeon 2, which is like. Well, the Airy, though, still going out of logic because we don't have a lamp yet, decided to, it looks like he's going to try his luck up the mountain.
A piece of heart on the top, and inside we have a red rupee, so nothing really we can do here.
Alright, so let's see. From Aries' perspective, where hasn't he gone yet? So he hasn't gone over to like Desert and Akina. So potentially, this actually, maybe is actually some pretty efficient routing for Aries because he did find the book, right? And maybe one of the hesitations from him going into desert is the fact he didn't have a lamp, so he couldn't potentially finish it. So maybe he was kind of hoping that he would be able to find some sort of fire source that he could use, and then doesn't have to go back to desert twice, right? So he basically did like everything else before desert, and unfortunately, looks like what we're missing is going to be somewhere in desert.
Yeah, it has to be in desert, right? Because we've checked pretty much everything else. So at this point, something has to be in desert.
So I think we still haven't checked Zora, which I believe after getting that glove is going to be in logic, but it looks like we're really very poor peasants in Hyrule so far, so unless we are willing to farm up some money, we're not going to be able to see what that item is.
Oh, you're right, Zora.
Eri, I'm sure, is very comfortable doing Cool Hand after practicing a lot off screen. I'm sure.
Sounds very confident.
Alright, so it looks like Thelaine is going to be, well, at least he's already in desert already, so because he had already checked Ganon earlier, so it looks like he is actually going to give a very slight lead to kind of give us a peek as to what's in desert here.
Holding out so far with a map on the torch and just a small key here, but at least we can check the right side.
Yeah, that's actually another kind of like very minor thing about the Temper Sword, is that, you know, you can actually just kind of poke the sandworm dude, and just basically kill him one shot. It's very slightly just faster. Oh man. Alright, so we got 10 arrows. We did pick up the big chest, so we have... So, okay, it has to be basically, what, here or Zora? Because we don't have... I mean, unless it's... Yeah, because we don't have a fire source to get the back.
Yeah, I think it has to be this or Zora.
And if there's a fire source here in the big chest, even though we can clear desert, which these runners may opt to do. They do have Temper Sword, which is not going to be the slowest thing, but, you know, there are only two items in desert, so it's not going to be the progression. Oh my god!
Oh god, it's
wow.
Twitch chat stream. It's Twitch chat stream.
Oh my gosh! All right. I hope Thelaine and Eri know how to pick Flipper over. Certainly a very commonly seen opening in entrance. But oh yeah, actually Thelaine looks like he actually has a really nice setup, being able to bonk the back. Gonna fake Flipper and take the water portal over immediately and turn this mushroom. It's gonna be a very nice play.
Alright, so what is this? We went from the book to the mushroom, so this has got to be something else, right? This is going to be the shovel or something?
It could be the shovel. We're hoping for like a lamp. Could be a bow. Maybe Eastern, you know, Lambos has our last. Oh no, I guess it still wouldn't be in logic. It's not yet because we don't have a fire source. Oh hey, it's a mirror. Oh, okay. So the mirror can get us back up to Hera Axe. No, we still don't have like a logical access to the mountain yet, though, right?
Yeah, it has to be Zora as well then, at least for logical access, right?
Yeah.
These guys probably don't care too much about the logic as far as dark rooms go, but Zora has to have something that's like a fire source or a lamp,
or potentially a flute. You know, Zora does have the flute. Then we do have logical Death Mountain access. But it looks like, though, you know, we are like so far from Zora money. I mean, even if we pick up a rupee hoard, which is 300 rupees from somewhere, we're still a little bit short. So looks like, though, we're probably just going to, you know, the laser's going to take his chances, basically.
I mean, we could hooligan, right?
Oh yeah, we can.
So that's a little bit of money. It's still not enough, but it's a start.
Yeah, and of course, I think some runners from, I want to say, some previous qualifier seed was maybe like 70 or 75 rupee short after Houlihan to try and get some Zora/pound money. There is the 50 rupee cave that's kind of in between the dam and desert. Thelaine, please don't die up here.
Here we go with the heartbeats again.
Death Mountain is, as Thelaine has demonstrated, is an extremely dangerous place, especially on, I would say, low health, even lower than what a normal energy run would have. Also, by the way,
it's quite interesting to see that these guys don't bother with picking up any money either. I mean, you know, it makes sense. I wouldn't lose a lot of time in picking up 20 rupees here or there. But you got to be thinking about Zora at least, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No.
Oh, we forgot about
okay.
this.
There is a bow on either tablet. So the good news is, of course, the bow is. Chances are it's not going to be a bow hunt. You know, this is going to be pretty accessible to most runners, but it still does not put Eastern in logic because you still need some sort of fire, fire source
Yeah.
to get back there.
We still shouldn't be here without the lamp or the flute, I guess.
The flute. Yeah. So okay, no hook shots early on. Looks like though Airy, you know, this is a clearable crystal dungeon. It's going to be another item available. I believe Airy and Helene are pretty comfortable climbing this tower.
Yeah, at least looks like they are not hesitating at all, and I can't really blame them. I mean, they're fully aware they're out of logic, but you're not gonna chase a lamp, which this probably would have turned into.
Oh my, all right.
What
Okay,
the
so
hell?
the good news, of course, is that both items are accessible right away. We don't have to go sit through the basement. So I think either Smoky's gonna lock itself or it's gonna be some sort of, you know, like compass, I think, right? But the bad news is that we are still missing some progression. So unless, yeah, I don't think that we can actually make any more progress up here in Death Mountain. Oh, Ari, please be careful.
Alright, 2 dead Moldorms, and it's a small key. And our first crystal.
Almost
What a weird
simultaneous.
seed.
Yeah, this is actually very interesting. And this actually potentially could be a potential challenge for some of our runners, just because, so when you do break logic, you are making a sequence break. It's very important to be able to keep yourself within logic because, you know, you definitely don't want to chase things that are potentially out of logic like later on. You know, if one thing blocks another, you just want to make sure, in this case, that you are still at least staying within logic in order to don't have to do anything extra. Very, actually some pretty good game knowledge. He is actually going to make sure that he has a safety in his bottle. Yeah, that's actually, you know, one thing that I think that people are aware of, or at least just another quality or feature, I guess, of the SGL settings is that Hervey, you mentioned that there are 4 bottles placed, but we can only get 2 of them. They were guaranteed to come in. Oh my god, they're going to come in empty. So actually, Ari, oh wow, he is okay. So he picked up the fairy, luckily with that bug net, and he is going to try and fairy death revival and hover over to EDM.
All right, why not? This is something else.
But
I mean,
it looks like Ari did not end up. I think.
Yeah, I think he messed up maybe, so he reset. He might be trying again. I think he is.
Yeah. But this is going to be quite the treat for us if Eric is successful for this. Meanwhile, Thelaine also doing his, well, I won't say the equivalent action, but he is also breaking logic in that, you know, you can see his screen basically being pretty dang dark, but he is climbing the tower in the dark. All right, okay. So on Aries' side, we got the fairy. It's gonna revive, and now Aries is gonna have to just try to do his best to hover over.
Moving very slowly. Nope.
Nope.
Is he gonna give us a third try? It looks like it.
It looks like it. Good luck, Ari. Alright, so meanwhile, the Thelaine, so the good news for Thelaine is that this is actually not his kind of like first time doing this, at least in recent memory. I think he ran a ladder race or something like that, where he did Dark Aga more or less intentionally. So hopefully he has some good practice here. Looks like though it is a bit of a struggle. I mean, Aga Tower Dark especially is very difficult. So he's trying to see him shooting out some arrows to try and locate himself.
Here we get the revive again, but he's having trouble again with the hover.
Oh. It is very difficult. I mean, this
It
is
is
a very difficult
absolutely
trick.
difficult, yeah. All right,
Alright,
that's
okay.
enough. We get 3 tries, and now we're
Yeah,
playing
I think
normal again.
this is very understandable. Alright, so given that he is starting a sanctuary with some bombs out, this is going to be Aries' attempt, looks like, in order to amass some funds, and so maybe he can, make a big purchase later. The lane, doing very well on his own side, has managed to make through, I would say, the difficult rooms of Akka Tower. Now, because we can actually see the rest of his screen lit up, so he's very shortly making his way to the wizard.
All right, we're not quite 60 rupees short on Aries' side, and the lane has almost made a tag one. So it's going to be real interesting to see what we get out of either choice here.
This is. Also on Aries' side, just a cautionary note of warning. When you try and farm these 50 rupees, there's the guy. If you accidentally talk to the guy, he has a lot of text boxes, surprisingly. So try not to waste any extra time making any extra dialogue that you don't have to.
Yeah, that guy's a huge troll.
All right. So any guesses for how many blue balls Agnon's gonna throw at us today?
Well, we already saw one, right? So I'm gonna go with 4. Damn, stop it.
Okay, so let's see. Ari found out 100 rupees. Oh yeah, he hasn't been over to Ice Rock Cave area yet. Is that right? Or maybe he's just doing water checks. I guess I can't quite remember what he's all shed.
I think he was. He's probably just warping over. He's fake flippering and warping to Zora, right?
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. That's right. Okay, that's an excellent point, Herby.
Yay!
Meanwhile, Thalane is patiently waiting out all of Agamemnon's little antics.
We forgot he already checked the waterfall fairy. No big deal.
For what it's worth, he might want to just basically to keep this water walk because you at least can dash on the water as opposed to doing the I would say the NMG version, which is you gotta be pretty precise with your
yeah,
your
that's
dashes.
true. All
right,
sense.
Okay, who would make the right call? Thanks,
Oh boy.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
that
boy.
is quite the item that Ari has painfully scrounged up every single amount of funding in order to make that very important purchase. So with the hammer, of course, that opens up a ton for us, right? We have traditional Dark World access that Ari has demonstrated. We can actually make some more progress. Now we can actually get to East Step Mountain logically because we have the mirror and the hammer.
I think the thing for the lane is right now you can't easily quit out of the Dark World with defeated Echo 1 and Mirror. So that's gonna be really annoying. But it's oh, there we go. We got a green pendant in Mire. I think I saw 5-6 crystal in Turtle Rock.
Yeah, I was actually just gonna say, I agree with you, Herfy, and that the lane, the fact that he is over here in Pod without the hammer is, certainly unfortunate for him, even though Pod is a pendant. But yeah, once you kind of make a decision, basically for what you think Zora has, and when you broken logic to do Dark Aga, that is basically, you have to kind of commit to your decisions, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, for all he knows or we know, imagine if Zora gave Aries the lamp.
Yeah. No, exactly, right? Yeah, so, if Elaine, potentially thought, hey, if I don't want to spend my, whatever, the next 5 minutes of my life for the siege to try and farm up money just so I can get you know, a lamp so I can go back and do Ag Tower, right? I'm just gonna do it now, right? This is totally the right decision for him. Meanwhile, though, speaking of right decisions, we are finding progression items left and right. So the lane picks up the Cane of Samaria from Pendant Pod, absolutely required. Meanwhile, Aerie also picks up a very required item, which is the Fire Rod.
Yeah, we're finding all the red items.
Yeah, actually, the red items so far today have been all pretty important, right? You know, we started with boots. You know, we got Temper Sword very early. I mean, it's red enough in that case, right? And we got the mushroom, which led us to the mirror. We're gonna pick up and Fire Rod and Cane today.
All right, Aerie, barely enough money for the digging game, but we can't afford it.
Yeah, it looks like I was actually a bit curious to see if Aerie wanted to kind of keep digging a little bit longer, so hopefully he can get some, you know, maybe potentially pod money. Because you know when he did farm out the money at the 50 rupee cave, he only got enough, looks like, for Zora, and looks like actually a little bit of foresight, just enough to do digging game. But right now he cannot actually afford his entryway over to Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, but thankfully, as you were saying earlier, thanks to that hammer, he has access to a whole bunch of different things where he'll hopefully find some much required money.
Area. Remember that he does not have the Titan's Fist, so we can't take the shortcut. But you know, after doing his map check, you know, we do know that Thieves Town is a crystal. He has the Fire Rod. I think Skull Woods also is a crystal as well. So I mean, this is a very, very reasonable place, basically to be, right, in the Dark World, where you've got 2 completable crystal dungeons. Not to mention you've got Temper Sword and boots, right? I mean, it's going to be Aerie. It should be very, very comfortable, you know, with these types of fights.
Yeah, and with a Fire Rod in hand, we can see he's just going straight up to Skullwoods. Gonna start up there, probably do it from the back. Unfortunately, he hasn't found his Cane of Samaria yet, which would help him a little in the first room there, but not a huge deal.
Yeah, and given Aerie's experience with NMG, you know, you don't get to come here with the Cane of Samaria. I have full confidence, of course, in him and the lane, how comfortable they are doing the statue room, as Aerie is just just demonstrating how easy, quote unquote, easy that room really is.
Yeah, so that's how you're
really
supposed to do it.
Yeah, they just make it look super, super easy.
The lane now finally coming back into logic slowly but surely, at least making his way over there. He might have a huge advantage here if Quakefish gives him something really good.
No, that's true. Yeah, I think I just must have missed it on his side. Did he end up getting money from Pod, looks like?
Yeah, he got 300 rupees from the big chest in Pod.
Nice. And 300 more
rupees. Okay.
So we really got Zoro money, so he's gonna be really happy picking up his hammer. And by the way, the lane also just showing off another, say, like, a very minor time save, right? Normally, in order to activate Catfish, you need to throw something inside his circle. The lane demonstrates that hitboxes are actually indeed square and not circular, just saving a little bit of extra time. I think it's very commonly, or not. It is commonly attempted and sometimes successful in NMG.
All right, Aerie on his way to second crystal. We're gonna see hopefully a pretty clean moth fight. He's, as you said, with NMG. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that's
not even enough time to talk about it.
Yeah, yeah. A few spikes did kind of move out of their way, but yeah, certainly Aerie knows how to take down a bug with the Temper Sword. So meanwhile on the lane side, so he picks up this hammer, right? And I'm not sure how good or bad he feels. You know, just because they, you know, initially, like, you know, if the lamp were at Zora, right, then, you know, Aghanim's or Castle Tower probably was required for Dark World access. But now, since he found to pick up the hammer, hopefully he doesn't feel too bad, because, you know, Aga Tower can actually be quite a bit of tech commitment. The lane, of course, did a very good job, basically because he did Aga Tower. Not only did Aga Tower, he did Aga Tower in the dark, and he did it, you know, comparable to basically when you would have it, you would have a lamp for.
Yeah, I definitely think it could, you know, weigh on the lane a lot more than we think, because you got to keep in mind that he also has no idea how much time Aerie spent on the fairy revival hover thing that he tried.
True. Yeah.
Which, you know, really kind of helped the lane out a lot more now than we thought originally.
This is actually going to be quite an interesting seed, I think, for the field, because, you know, Airy, if we discount, you know, the attempts that he did to try and do EDM Fairy Death Revival, he basically made the decision to go farm out money. You know, the lane, on the other hand, decided to make a decision to go to Dark Agate Tower, which, by the way, like, given the field, the strength of this field, is certainly well within the skill sets of many of the runners. So, like, I guess I'm just curious to see, you know, which runners made what decisions, right? You know, do you take basically the early money farm? Otherwise, you know, we could actually see quite a bit of divergence. Oh, Airy, though, unfortunately, I didn't quite place the bomb right the first time, but definitely got on the second shot. Oh, we checked Ped, right? It wasn't anything important?
I think so, yeah. Okay, are we finally finding some money? I think those 50 rupees, could that have been a sword, maybe?
The
I
50
forgot what it's
rupees, I
replaced
think,
with.
is a normal rupee thing in the pool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think 20 rupees, I think, would have been the sword replacement.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Alright, the lane picking up, looks like, our second bottle, so that's going to be it for him. I believe he does have a fairy in one of his bottles, because he got that from Waterfall Fairy.
Oh,
but, you know,
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but certainly, you know, some safety is better than no safety.
Yeah, I mean, as you were saying earlier, they're you know, on Tempered Sword and pretty comfortable with everything, but the lane's still on 5 hearts, a little less than what Airy has. It probably still feels pretty uncomfortable here. Most things do 2 damage to you.
Yeah, and I think Airy and the lane are both on green mail, so yeah, it is actually still quite dangerous. You know, be kind of on this low health. And there's actually another, I would say, another, you know, pretty good, or at least like well received, relatively speaking, you know, feature of SGL is that a lot of the safeties in terms of health has actually been replaced. So I think they're nice dash the lane, line himself correctly for the God Pixel, and all the enemies cooperated. But yeah, I was just gonna finish up saying, so everything has been, the only health stuff that we have are a Sank Heart, 2 heart containers, and 24 heart pieces. So basically most of the things you're going to find are going to be, you know, piece after piece, right? So you're kind of gradually building up your health. And this is actually definitely showing, right, in a lot of those seeds where, for example, the lane is here after 40 minutes in Thieves Town on 5 hearts, right?
Yeah, I think it definitely shows, and I think I brought this up the last time we commentated. The amount of hearts that you have is definitely going to be less, but with all the heart pieces in the pool, you get a lot more free refills. You know, it's obviously hard to time those out because you have no idea where your heart pieces are going to be. But sometimes they can really bail you out a lot more than finding another heart container that just gives you 1 extra heart and nothing else.
Yeah, I'm especially thankful for the lane's timing in Mini Moldorm Cave because his 4 heart piece in there basically got rid of all the double heart beats for us. So.
Yeah, that's an added bonus of that feature. All right, we're checking the big chest. Coming in here with a hammer feels good, man.
Yes. It looks like nothing, I guess, important was here, but I think in the last night's qualifier scene, I think I saw people talking about I think hammer was somewhere, I guess, very like inconvenient or out of the way, and so some people just basically came to Thieves Town without the hammer, and the item in the big chest was a sword. So I think a lot of people missed that as well. Alright, so the lane at least just slightly ahead, basically half dungeon's worth ahead of Airy in Thieves Town. Going to try and do his scripted fight here. So ideally he would take no damage, but if he takes 1 or 2 hearts, he's still gonna be fine. The more danger is if things get out of hand and then you basically can't control blind. But the lane, no worries whatsoever. You know, blind is very snugly there in the upper left side of the screen, and of course we've got some really nice progression on blind himself.
Yeah, that's a very good item to find. I think it's so funny and interesting to see here. These guys, you know, half a dungeon apart. Of course, Airy already finished Skull Woods, but apart from that, you know, considering how differently they got to this point, they're not that far apart.
Yeah. Ari also demonstrating that he does not need a cape either in order to basically make a very clean dash in that hallway. These guys are just so good at this game.
They definitely are, yeah. They know their stuff. Though I have seen like 2 or 3 bonks from Eri that were a bit weird, or not weird, but funny. Something that you wouldn't expect to see from, you know, someone of Eri's caliber.
Yeah, it's okay. Maybe he's on North American time, and you know it's still early in the morning for him, so he's just waking up and warming up.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's been a while since he's bonked, so maybe he's got it out of the system now and finally woken himself.
Yeah, just gotta remind, you know, us, like, who's watching, you know, that he is in fact indeed human. Can also bonk. Speaking of though, the lane, finding his lamp in the brewery here in Dark World, so looks like we at least have a confirmation that Aga Tower was not required, at least. Because, yeah, logically speaking, if the lamp is here, you can't actually do it. Or at least for Dark World access.
Yeah, and that again brings me back to what you were saying earlier about how bad the lane is potentially feeling right now. Because finding that lamp here is, you know, kind of another reminder of how not great his choice was to do Aga. He doesn't know that in the end it turned out to not be a huge deal.
Yeah. No. And I certainly would not be surprised, again, just given how strong the field is, you know, if I would be extremely surprised if he was like the only person that decided to do something like this.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's, you know, that's an interesting point that you bring up, because it really comes down to your mindset and how you play qualifiers versus a 1-versus-1 game, and, you know, approaching them differently and kind of figuring out what the meta is and how other people are probably going to approach it and everything.
Yeah, actually, yeah. I guess I'm kind of curious. Maybe we can ask them, like, you know, what they would have done. Like, let's just say, you know, Lane and Ari knew they were playing each other. Like, how would you, like, what decisions did you make early on? Like, do you think Lane would have farmed out money? Do you think Lane would have tried a fairy death revival? Like,
yeah,
exactly. These questions are actually, like, really good, especially because, you know, you're going against somebody like Ari, you're going against somebody like the Lane. Like, you have to really make sure that you know, you're very confident in your decisions, right?
Yeah, I don't think if this is like Eri versus the lane 1-versus-1 main tournament match, I don't think Eri's like, all right, let's give us 3 tries for this fairy death revival ever.
Oh, that's actually a good point.
So yeah, I mean, you know, that kind of shows that with the qualifier, you might not play it the same way as you would if you're playing against a specific person.
All right,
now we're all gonna pray that the lane doesn't forget about the purple chest.
Given that he has, oh, you're right. Past performance does not indicate future earnings. Looks like though he is on his way to the locksmith, nearing at a good location. So we're gonna be able to see what this is.
All right, very nice.
Yeah, so looks like actually the overworld stuff that, you know, Ari also looks like just kind of following Thelane's footsteps here. It didn't really heal much. I mean, for Thelane, at least it was good. He got a little bit of extra health, but probably not the stuff that he is immediately looking for.
Yeah, and I you know, I was wondering, is it really worth it checking all the overworld? But where else can they really go? The myths didn't open up nearly as much as you would think they might.
Yeah, so far, right, and it's very possible that, you know, at least for Thelane and potentially Ari, right, the mist was like the last, you know, or the most, like, the deepest sphere item that they got, so maybe they just want to chase something like that. You know, Thelane does have the fire rod, right, so he had the option going back up to Skullwoods, but chances are, because he hadn't done the rest of the village outcast, maybe, you know, he was already in the southern area, like, he'll just finish up, like, the south route.
Yeah, it totally makes sense.
All right, so finally over here checking hype. Oh no, Ari already checked this earlier, right?
I believe so, yeah. I think he kind of started here.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Because that's actually where Ari got his fighter shield, I think, and then Delane, of course, already having a fighter shield. I think we got a blue 5 rupee replacement.
All right, we're back up on Death Mountain for Ari. And
You
for
think
the lane.
you think he's gonna try and hover again, or are you just gonna go the normal way?
That would have been great, but I don't blame him for not trying again.
Okay, Ari, I guess we'll just go over to East Death Mountain the old-fashioned way. We're gonna mirror on top here, hammer our way over, and then check Paradox.
Doing it the way everyone can do it. How boring. Yeah, Wallkicks brings up a good point in chat here. If the lane can open up TR, he can full clear it where Ari is still missing his Cane of Samaria.
Yeah, and so it just just to recap, the Cane of Samaria we did find or the lane found in Pen and Pod. So Eastern and Pod are pendants. Ari has already gone over to Pen and Eastern, or I guess both of them have, and seeing that Pod is another pendant, like there is the incentive to go back over there when especially you have Crystal Dungeons to clear is somewhat is somewhat lowered.
Yeah, probably a pretty low priority right now for Ari. Well, he'll have to get back there eventually, I believe, but
wow,
he just found the flippers here.
Yeah, I guess this is so Super Money Cave is very blue today after all of the red items that we have gotten.
Time for blue to shine. I guess this opens up Ice Palace, doesn't it?
Yeah, so logically we do have access to Ice Palace. I have certainly known many a runner to kind of ignore the flipper requirement for Ice Palace in order to at least gain entry. But the flipper is actually very nice, just for logical implications, right? Especially if you think that you're in go mode, right? And you think flippers are basically your go mode, right? You don't have to go do anything in Ice Palace. Ari,
just casually hovering over through Hookshot Cave. Let's see what else we can grab in here. All of this out of logic, of course. So we'll have to see if we can even get anything. Oh.
All right. Looks like he might be more just willing to give Hookshot Cave one try versus the 3 he already gave East Death Mountain. So the lane here, we were checking all the Paradox. Okay, finally found something good over here, which is of course the flip. Well, is it good? It's good for movement, but fire's also a pendant, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's is that good? Yeah. I guess it's good, but it's also kind of weird. Not the progression we were looking for.
Yeah, I mean, so at least right. So we do know that they eventually have to go back to desert. Even it's a crystal, but we already pulled 2 items out of this, so they just eventually have to go back and clear it, right? So the food will certainly be very nice in order to get them back there quickly. Of course, logically implications though, that means that we are going to be able to take a peek at Meyer, and the lane also has the cane, so depending on what the entry medallion is, he can make that decision whether or not he wants to dive if he has access to it.
Yeah, we'll have to see. We already know that Bombos will be required for Turtle Rock, so we don't have that yet. It'll definitely have to show up at some point, but Meyer really could be anything.
Yeah, but I certainly would imagine, especially for the lane and potentially Ari now, they'll probably go at least activate their flute. And as you said, so we have a fully clearable crystal dungeon, which is Ice Palace ahead of us. The lane's going to have a much more incentivized, at least, a dive in order to go there, because he has the Cane of Samaria, right? Cane of Samaria with Icebreaker in Ice Palace is going to be, very fast. Ari, on the other hand, without that cane, even though he is very comfortable with the, obviously more traditional NMG Ice Palace bomb jump route, it's just going to be slower.
Is hovering left easier than hovering right?
We should ask them, I guess.
They both got the first one on the first try, and then when they try to go right, they can't. There's also less space on the platform where they start hovering, so maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know.
Okay. If we remember in the interview, we can ask them, and hopefully that last chest isn't going to be anything important, or at least they can come back, with a hook shot and then get that last item. All right, so looks like the lane at least going to make a decision. Oh man.
Okay, we can make it into Meyer.
Oh well. Oh man. Yeah. Oh, also the lane accurately remembering or realizing that he actually did defeat Agnan. So when he saves and quits in the Dark World, it actually puts him on the Pyramid. Eri not having defeated Agnan yet, he has probably the more commonly seen save and quits everywhere. Always puts you back in the Light World.
Alright, looks like we're going into the back of desert here on Aries' side, grabbing another crystal.
Yeah, and I mean, this I think is also a very reasonable play, right? He kind of took a peek at what Meyer is, 2 fast checks at Lisa Meyer shed, another reasonably fast check at Checkerboard, and then you're in the area. And if you have to come back to Meyer in order to pick up something else in that pendant dungeon, you know, you're probably willing to spend that extra time.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, eventually you'll have to grab this crystal, and what better time than now, really, while you're already here.
Yeah, and of course, you know, while you know, as earlier, like they did have Temper Sword, but now they're coming back here with Silvers. And a Fire Rod, probably at this point at people's discretion. I assume Eri and Kalei would just take out the bow and arrow here, because it's, you know, just 3 very fast arrows, but it also just depends on what you're comfortable with. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Did Eri just switch over to wooden arrows? Oh, thank you, Eri.
I guess.
I am so impressed here. Oh man, so Eri, of course, very, very comfortable with this. Holy frick! Eri just did a 2 cycle with wooden arrows, 12 shots. That is like the best possible you could do. Like, Lamos does have to cooperate a little bit in terms of RNG, but like, holy cow, Eri, what a performance!
Yeah, and the time it took him longer to do this with wooden arrows is what he saved on lag time from not using the silver. So, you know, just showboating a little, just showing off a little bit.
There is a reason why Eri has a 123 time for energy, but that was amazing.
All right, and it looks like we're on our way to Ice Palace now, as I was saying earlier, full clearable.
Yeah, I think also going over to the Meyer desert area for Eri also was very, I would say, like, you know, kind of hedging his bets a little bit. You know, just because, for example, if the Cane is over there, right? Certainly not unreasonable. You know, Eri's got a much faster clear of Ice Palace. Unfortunately, you know, as we saw on the lane side, you know, it was the Cane, Samarias, and Todd.
Yeah, but I mean, not that I didn't expect it, but I have to commend Eri for not falling for the good old trap of waiting to go into Ice Palace until you have the Cane of Samaria. You know, I think Eri is an experienced and good enough player to not fall into the trap, but I do that a lot, and I know a lot of other people are like, I won't really touch Ice Palace unless I can do Icebreaker.
Yeah, and it's a kind of like a scary trap in order to fall into as well, because you know, especially if the Cane of Samaria is actually inside Ice Palace, right? Like, I mean, you're just gonna be very, very sad afterwards.
Yeah, that is absolutely the worst case scenario.
Alright, so Eri's kind of making his way through. It's actually going to be kind of a nice comparison for us, because presumably the lane's going to do Icebreaker when he comes here. So Eri's going to show us, I guess, like the first pass, more traditional clear. You see him actually also taking some, doing a damage boost, so he can actually make a clean dash across the conveyor belts as well. And, you know, a looks like very well practiced, comfortable Ice Palace bomb jump.
Yeah, that looked like a machine, basically.
And I think one thing, maybe we haven't mentioned already, there is actually technically no half magic in the pool. It has been removed, been replaced with a small magic decanter. I don't think it's actually shown up yet on either side. You know, but, you know, of course, with Tempered Sword and Fire Rod, Eri should be pretty comfortable here. Not only in Ice Palace, but also against Full Stare.
Oh yeah, and we're going to have to see some bomb jumps here. Not that I think they're going to really have any big problems with it, but
these Baris, man.
They're not playing along. There we go.
So after actually all of this excitement, or at least there was a lot of excitement on my side when I got to see, we got treated basically to a very clean and amazing fight, Bolemo fight on Aries side. What else do we need for Go mode here, Herpy?
Well, we need the hookshot. We need bombos for Turtle Rock. I think that's about it.
Yeah, I think it actually looks like you're right. Ari has found his 4th sword that we're basically never going to see. But yeah, I think because we got to basically peek at both medallions, so we know we're not going to need Quick today, and we definitely know that because Turtle Rock is a crystal today, we are going to need that Cane of Samaria. I think there's still a good amount of locations left for both our runners. So there's certainly going to be a lot of exploration still left. But honestly, if these two are the items that you're looking for Go mode, I don't think it's actually be that bad. It's they've already got the ice rod. I think that's probably like the biggest thing.
It is. If it's not the biggest thing, it's definitely one of the biggest things because you never want to be on an ice rod hunt at the very end of a seed.
Now, potentially the only trickier thing left, I guess, is bombos. We do see that because we do have the fire rod, as Ari has demonstrated, he's already exploring Ice Palace. Bombos isn't actually going to lock anything, so hopefully it's not going to be, too out of the way. Ideally, maybe it'll just be sitting in Turtle Rock or something, right?
I think someone earlier was pointing out, I unfortunately forgot who it was, but I'm sure they'll speak up in the chat. But someone was pointing out that the last chest in the Hookshot Cave that they both didn't check, the only helpful thing that it could still have would be bombos. So I'm hoping it's in there. Because I'm a good friend.
So we're gonna clip this and then we're gonna play it back to Area Lane.
Yeah, you can do that. That's fine. I had the Lane sub to me only so he could show me that he canceled my sub in the screenshot 5 minutes later. So I don't feel bad.
Got some good German camaraderie here. So it looks like Ari, eventually made his way basically all over Ice Palace, did not find anything, at least find no progression here, unless, well, we already have 10% by now, so that fourth sword certainly not going to be any use to us. So he's just going to hopefully, demonstrate another awesome boss fight here on Full Stair.
Right, here we go, down to 3 hearts. I mean, as you were saying, usually not a problem, but he still needs to be careful not to have anything stupid happen.
Yeah, oh
there
wow,
we go.
What a beautiful fight
so
on
much for
side.
that.
Worth pointing out, of course, that Ari is actually on 3 hearts. Cold Stare on Blue Mail does actually that amount of damage, so I think he was actually on 1-hit KO mode. I mean, he could get hit by one of the falling icicle things, would not have killed him, but given that he was pretty close to Cold Stare, Ari, of course, very much in control. No one was worried at all, but technically I think he was potentially 1 hit away from death.
Alright, so what now? After all this time, the only difference that we're seeing is that Cane of Samaria.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't be surprised to see Ari go there sooner rather than later.
Yeah, looks like this is going to be our visit to East Dark World. No, never mind. Oh, we're gonna do Pyramid Fairy. Oh yeah. Okay, so this is actually this is gonna make a lot of sense. Ari's gonna probably make probably do Pyramid Fairy and check Pyramid. He can make his way up to Catfish. He hasn't done that. Or it could just be a play to Pendant Pod.
Oh, I didn't even realize we already had the 5-6 crystals.
Yeah, same here.
I thought TR was one of them, but apparently not.
I think like the tracker icons for 5-6 are just it's more subtle than I expected. Yeah, but Ari obviously showing he's very much controlled the scene. He's doing a lot of very reasonable decisions. Oh, not quite the cane that we were looking for on Aries' side, or at least from his perspective. But he does manage to get a nice red potion, so I think he has a fairy and a red potion now to his name. Meanwhile, though, the lane actually kind of showing us just how fast Ice Palace really is. Like he's already, he's past Icebreaker. He's already to the back here. It's a little bit faster than the more traditional NMG route.
Yep, and now we're seeing Eri finally making his way to Pod, gonna find his Cane of Samaria. It's gonna be interesting to see if Eri decides to go further into Pod, because he's basically fully equipped to do everything that he needs to do in there.
Yeah, this is actually a good point too, because so Pod is pendant. If there is an item on Helmasaur, yeah, like it's going to be a very good question whether or not he continues. So I think we did have confirmation earlier that both Elaine and Eri did check pedestal, and it was nothing of value to them. So if Eri can just clears out everything, right? And there's no item on the boss, smoothly, very quickly.
And especially, with the mirror that we found super early on, it's not going to be a problem to just be like, all right, there's nothing on Helmasaur, I'll mirror out here and leave.
Maybe that's also another consequence of just having such, gradual health buildup, for because of these SGL settings, is that even if you don't find the mirror early, like death warping is going to be super painful just because you don't really have that many health to lose to begin with. So.
I do have to say, though, I'm a little bit curious. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention, or they picked stuff up in a different order or something, but where does the huge money difference come from?
I think the lane took 300 from Catfish, and then he also found 300 here, right? In Pod somewhere? Pod Big Chest?
Yeah, that makes sense. I think Catfish, definitely, I remember that. And oh yeah, he found the 300 in Pod. Yeah.
Right, yeah, and then, because that was basically his Zora money, and then he went to Catfish, and then he got more Zora money. Alright, so the lane having actually a little bit extra health to his name. He having a full 5 hearts. Oh, he has a fairy too, so. But he's also a Temper Sword. Certainly expect hopefully at least a good, clean, safe fight from him as well. Oh no! Oh! That was intentional! Okay, yeah, right. So the lane tried to basically release his fairy in order to get full health to his Sword Beams. He's gonna do some makeshift Fire Rod shots, basically. As long as the Sword Beam hits almost immediately after the Fire Rod shot, it'll count as Fire Rod shot without you having to use magic. So the lane can actually end up using his real Fire Rod shots later for Holstera. Also very, fast and clean fight. Nice job.
Yeah, very nicely done. I mean, he figured, I now have enough hearts, I have blue mail. I don't think I'm going to need that fairy for safety. I'm going to use it to get some magic-free Fire Rod shots. Alright, Aries being very thorough, just so he can hopefully skip the whole Helmasaur thing.
Yeah, unfortunately I had not been counting, when the lane was over here first, I guess I didn't count how many items there were. And I also had not counted how many items there had been in Pod either for Eri. Oh wow, Eri, you could just tell how experienced he is. So, okay. So Eri is doing the hammer jump from the top, and that actually is, it's a slightly different setup or lineup in this case in order to get over there. But like, if you fail, it's actually much more, say, like, costly, just because if you fall, you have to basically go back down the stairs to the basement to reset the super tile, because in order to get the bridge to reappear again. So Eri, very, very skilled, obviously, confident in his abilities.
All right, we're fluting away. Are we grabbing the green pendant in Meyer? Yeah, it looks like we're checking in there.
Yeah, it looks like Eri is going to opt to not do Armos. He does have the lamp, and I think we did establish there was one item there in the back, right? So yeah, it looks like he's just going to say no to that, and then we're gonna dive Pendant Mire. There are 2 items in here. If Eri wants to continue on to the boss, which he does have the King of Samaria for, he has that option, and then it's also green pendant, so that's gonna be a 3rd item for us.
Eri is not giving us a bird toss, despite spending time on 3 fairy hover thingy tries.
Maybe if he spent only 2 revival tries, he would have gotten
Okay.
first toss.
Alright. I would have also accepted a bird smash, but you know, you gotta do something.
I'm just happy that Airy 2-cycle Bo Lamos, that was, that was just so amazing.
That's all you wanted from this.
Yeah. Oh wow, Airy cutting it kind of close. I think we did establish that he does have at least some safety, but still kind of dangerous in order to take that much damage in the spike room.
Yeah, drinking his red potion right now might not be a bad choice. The lane apparently deciding to check into Swamp.
All right, okay, so this is a decision. We have Blaine also, of course, demonstrating he knows how to anti-fairy skip as well. But yeah, this is this could be. Well, we are running kind of down to some number of locations left, and we're still looking for the hookshot. We're still looking for bombos. There is nothing in the game that says the hookshot can't be here in Swamp.
Yeah, it is very true.
So it looks like at least Airy, at least from my side, I think that was our first item, which is a heart piece in Mire. Looks like Airy is still searching.
Yeah, I believe so as well. We're probably gonna see him finish this no matter what, right? You don't want to leave behind the green pendant if you're already in here.
That is certainly reasonable. Okay, so Airy's gonna try and get this real clip over. Very nicely done.
Goodbye.
Basically, just take a slight shortcut so we can get over to the right side quickly. Man, the amount of divergence that we're actually seeing here on screen, I can only imagine what everyone else is doing like in this race.
Yeah.
I think the spread is going to actually be quite wide.
It's pretty crazy, and every now and again I remember there's 60 other people running this qualifier right now. Alright, well, looks like Airy is making his way to the end, and I do believe the last item has to be on
Vitreous?
On Vitreous, yeah.
Alright, okay.
I think so, anyway. I haven't seen anything else that you haven't seen as well.
Yeah, no, I saw a bunch of keys. I think I saw a map and compass, and I saw a Herpy, so I think you're right, Herpy. That the last item has to be on Vitreous. The lane, yeah, unfortunately, so it looks like he hasn't found anything in Swamp so far, but we do still have left side. He does yeah, so hopefully something's here. Yeah,
it kind of reminds me of the last qualifier we commentated. It's not quite as severe, but it's kind of like, will the green pendant turn and be something, or will we find something in Swamp Palace?
Yeah.
We did find powder apparently in Swamp, so that's something.
Okay. That is another check that's open to us from Magic Bat. Chances are they were not going to be able to fake powder, just given the location of both the Cane of Samari and the mushroom.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so Airy, very confident in his phase 1 NMG, making sure to take some time as well to clean up the big eye.
Okay, looks like we missed an item then, or Airy left something behind, which I doubt.
Did he do cutscene chest?
Good question. I don't think he did. Oh, he's going back. Yep, he definitely didn't.
Yep, looks like we are gonna do cutscene chest. Oh my gosh!
Oh, come on!
Wow! Alright, so the lane at least making a temporarily correct decision for this seed, in that he found the hook shot in left side swamp. So that means you do have to go in hookless.
I mean, absolutely great for the lane. He could immediately check that chest on the other side. He can immediately clear this dungeon now.
Yeah, so...
He also found the shovel, so imagine Bombos being in the shovel spot, just making Swamp the most worth play that you could ever do.
Yeah, that would be amazing, actually.
Well,
Lane.
gotta still take a small key, my friend.
Yep, that is. I think that is like the next most common play in Swamp Palace. You go to the left side, hookless swamp, of course, because you're so obviously so used to that decision, and then you're so excited to be able to go to the back because you found the hook shot, and then I was like, okay, I still need a key. Okay, so at least the good thing for Aerie is that most people, at least from what I've seen, do not tend to dive hookless swamp, regardless of whether it's a crystal or not. So maybe I should retract some of my previous statements in that I think the spread will still be pretty wide, but I think the people who do, oh my gosh, wow! All right, so the lane's in go mode at 1 hour 13. It looks like for him. Yeah, so like I think the people who end up making the decision to dive hookless swamp early, they're definitely gonna have a pretty big advantage for this season.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like maybe I'm just being too cynical, but I feel like there's a lot of clowny people that will definitely do hookless left side in this qualifier.
Yeah.
Right, hopefully Aerie immediately goes back and does swamp now, which it looks like he might be doing. Yep.
Yeah, it looks
So
like
he's
it.
not too far behind.
Yeah, no. I mean, Aerie, I would say for what it's worth, has exhausted a lot of decisions, right? And he has actually cleared a good amount of the game. Right, we basically, he has, as you said, that last chest in Hookshot Cave that no one ended up being able to at least see from the earlier hover attempts. But that's kind of like it for value in the mountain, where he can't get into Turtle Rock because there's no bombos. And I think Aerie didn't do Spike Cave either, but that's kind of also kind of a long check, right?
Yeah,
so
you
maybe
definitely
swamp is
don't
going to
want to go
be,
there.
your best bet.
Alright, so as you were saying, the lane now has everything that he could possibly need and only needs to go back to Turtle Rock. He's he's pretty well set up for the rest of the seed, I would say. They found the silver super early on. They've had a full quiver pretty much the whole game.
Yeah.
They're on the maximum mail that they can get. They've got, a decent amount of hearts, I'd say, for this mode.
Yeah, I mean, looks like Aerie's got what, like 8 hearts or something like that, 8, 9 hearts. The lane has 8. Yeah, I mean, I think these guys should be fine, especially on blue mail, right? And I think at least for the lane too, he also has a red potion because he went to Pyramid Fairy as well, so he also has some safety.
Mm-hmm. Alright, here we go. Go mode Turtle Rock. Unfortunately, not usually that much quicker than just, normal Turtle Rock. If you're lucky, you get to skip Laser Bridge depending on your small key situation.
Yeah, and I think probably like the biggest benefit for Go mode Turtle Rock is you don't have to go check Mimic Cave, which actually can be it is a surprisingly large amount of time commitment.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah, and of course, the lane having picked up the hook shot from Swamp Palace, the area is, I don't know, a minute or so away too. He can do the Torches Room and Turtle Rock the normal way.
Making it up to 9 hearts as well now with that heart piece. Gets a free refill. So, considering where we are right now and how relatively quick the seed was or is going to be for the lane, I figure he'll finish probably sub 130, right?
Yeah, I think that sounds reasonable because he just has the rest of Turtle Rock to do, and then he has, I guess, depending on depending how much time he kind of spends in GT or what MVP is. But maybe yeah, I can certainly
somewhere around that. But imagine him not doing Aga. And instead grabbing the money for Zora.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I was actually going to say this. So, like, okay, so you mentioned earlier, right? You know, like we watched the lane to basically do Dark Aga, and you know, we were probably thinking about maybe how potentially bad he feels, right? Because he basically saw that Aga was required. But then, like, how good must you feel now when you decided to dive, Swamp without the hookshot and you found the hookshot, just like Aries is showing us right now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's got to be kind of a roller coaster of emotions for the lane in this seed because, as you were saying, at first kind of bad, then the left side swamp play, probably thinking, if it's not here, I've already lost anyways, and then getting super bailed out by this.
Yeah, I mean the fact that he did not decide to dive Maya, right, which was basically another, I would say, like time commitment for as compared to for Aries side.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, and the fact that he
Ari also forgetting the swampy, as you were saying earlier.
Okay, I think the fact that both the lane and Aerie, forgetting the small key, to go to the back of swamp after diving hookless swamp in order to get the hook shot, it just shows you that they do this is a play that they do not normally make, right? They're more, I would say, more reasonable reasonable players here.
The lane opening chests, hoping to find something fancy still.
Alright, so after picking up bombos, of course, from Waterfall Room in Swamp area is also in go mode about 6-ish minutes later, I think, than the lane.
Or as we say around here, one escape later.
One escape, yeah, one NMG escape. Alright, so I think the lane tried to give us a quick kill Argus on his side, but I think couldn't quite get the execution Airy though. Holy frick! His boss fights have been amazing today. Really clean Colster fight. Quick kill Argus first phase.
You jinxed him on that first arrow.
Two cycle wooden bow arrow Lambo. I mean, Aries execution's been on point today.
Yeah, but definitely Aries showing us how boss fights should look. Definitely well practiced and knows what he's doing in pretty much all situations.
Alright, so at least according, so it looks like the difference is, as the lane is basically finishing up Trinex, it looks like some very standard NMG backdoor strats from him. Aries actually just climbing up the mountain, so he's basically, looks like one Turtle Rock Venture behind the lane at this point. By the time he gets up there, by the time the lane finishes up and gets out, it's going to be pretty close to that.
Yeah, just as Trinex is exploding here, giving us our last crystal. Oh, and another heart container, a very rare prize in this mode.
Yeah. Alright, so actually it looks like the lane is going to be up to a full 10 hearts. I guess, based on that, I'm going to assume that Aries is going to get 11, but maybe not. Maybe he'll end up getting 10 as well.
Yeah, I think they're on the same amount of hearts. I'm not sure if they're on the same amount of heart containers. It will depend on if the one heart container in the start of TR gives Aerie another heart or not.
Oh, are we supposed to play some sort of GT guessing game here? I like totally forgot about this. Alright, so unfortunately, yeah, the bot I think is just going to be on a permanent vacation. But if you want to take a guess as to numbers 1 through 22 as to where you think the GT big key is, feel free to make your guess as we count along with the lane. Very commonly seen, I think the lane, this is the lane's common route. I'm gonna go right. Check Hope Room. If there is a small key here, we're going to continue on to Compass Room and then mirror and do left side. Looks like no small keys, so we're going to just do skill left side immediately. I believe Airy, once he comes here, has a slightly different GT basement routing choice where he goes to Southwest Room, which the lane is going to right now, which you will guarantee yourself a small key and then mirror yourself over and do right side to Compass Room and then back.
bunch of money we don't need anymore now.
Yeah. If only money could solve our problems now. Alright, so I think we're on count 8 for the lane so far, because we checked both in Hope Room, and we checked the torch. He didn't get it, but we checked it. And then we got Forest Alpha's room.
Yeah, looks to be hiding a little bit today.
Mm-hmm. So actually, given that there was no small key in Compass Room, or so in Hope Room, we're actually going to potentially see some deviation here, at least in terms of time, just because, you know, if the big key is actually indeed in Compass Chest or Compass Room, you know, for Airy, because, you know, if it is there, Airy's going to basically get there a lot sooner.
Mm-hmm, that's
Whereas
very
the lane,
true, yeah.
Whereas the lane, right, going this route is he's going to basically do Ice Armors before going with the Compass Room. Alright. We could have used that 300 rupees in the light world, Ganon. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, no surprise that the whole seed was so poor if everything's again in sour.
Alright, so if the lane ends up finding the big key here behind Ice Outlaws, it's going to be a better route for him. Otherwise, unless it's in Tile Room, Aries going to have a faster time over to the juicy big key.
And even then, Airy, you know, he's been doing some weird stuff this seed. He could be starting out in Tile Room.
Oh wow, that would be quite the sight. Oh, unfortunately, the lane didn't quite get, I think, like what, the second to last Armos or something lined up. Probably just due to the ice. Oh man! All right, let's see where this big key is.
Still hiding.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, is it going to be this or is it going to be the Tile Room?
Cryptos are bullying the lane here a bit. Hopefully the lane's not going to have too many issues with magic. Alright, big key is here. That's right. So, looks like then, actually, at least for today, Aries' route to the big GT big key is going to be a little bit faster. Wow, that was check 20. Quite late in this case.
It could have been much earlier, but you know, you never know before.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, and like the fact that it just happens to be in this case, you know, probably the big item is, you know, hook, of course, in sorry, you have to go get the hook shot. You have to enter a swamp without the hook shot because the hook shot is in swamp, right? Is it, you know, quote unquote correct to go into Swamp Palace without the hook shot? I mean, you know,
yeah, exactly.
it's correct here because that's where the item was, but you know, it's very difficult to be able to say in this case what it actually means.
Oh, and Trinix even dropped the Sang card. I just realized on Aries' side.
Oh, do you get a free refill right before he get the free refill from the dungeon?
Yep. He saved. I mean, did he save time? I think he saved time, right?
I guess it depends on how much magic he had left for.
Oh, right. Lane having a little trouble with the Zazax here. Hey, sometimes they just walk wherever they want. Oh boy. Here
Thanks,
we go
Elaine.
again.
We appreciate it.
Not getting the fairy, of course.
Yeah, not even getting the refill. Elaine, I guess, is very confident or comfortable here, at least in upper GT.
There we
Thanks,
go.
Elaine. We appreciate it.
And it looks like Ari is also going full left side here. Maybe?
So I think Ari would normally just do to Southwest room and pull out the mirror. Yeah, because I think
looks like it.
So one of the reasons I think some runners like to do this route is they don't have to deal with the Scalpels basically and like try and kill them because they like to jump around and there are fireballs and yeah, it's just going to be a slow wait in order to get out of that room. The lane is almost up to the top though of the tower. Looks like I actually had a pretty decent climb so far.
Yeah, it doesn't look too bad.
Yeah,
Still on full hearts after using his potion there.
Yeah. Of course, nice 4 torches on, or torches 2 on the lane side. 4 shots, even got the early one to count as well. Unfortunately, the bomb decides to not explode, because I guess it wasn't close enough.
Yeah, not sure what the problem was there.
Bombs are surprisingly finicky. Alright, so Ari finding his big key and small key alongside, so he's going to have no hesitation about climbing up. Yeah, of course, you know, as you mentioned, Fluffy, we have pretty much everything we could possibly want, right? We've got Blue Mail, which is our maximum mail upgrade. We've got Tempered Sword, and we've got it very early on as well. We've got Silvers. Lane has enough arrows to take down Ganon. Yeah, he has probably more than enough, even if he misses a few times.
Yeah, I mean, by all accounts, this really shouldn't be too much of a problem. We'll see how it goes, but I don't really foresee any problems for either of these guys.
Oh yeah. And of course, speaking of problems though, Agon 2, doesn't matter how good of a runner you are, RNG can always get to the best of you. The lane making a nice recovery on cycle 3 though, be able to land a double there. What kind of shady?
Alright, there we go. Yeah, that wasn't the friendliest Aga. I guess, you know, it was the revenge match on the lane side, so maybe he buffed up a little bit beforehand.
Right. Yeah, he got all warmed up, right? Because he managed to kill Agamemnon the first time.
Harry having a little more luck there with those Gauntlet rooms, now making his way to land mode 2.
Yeah, no, Ari, well, both Ari and Khalid, of course, are very, very familiar with the Gauntlet. But of course, you know, enemies don't care about how familiar you are. It can still be quite bothersome at times. Ari, though, making a very nice recovery on that 4th arrow for Lamos 2.
Yeah, very nice save there.
Alright, so the lane already in the Ganon fight. Looks like he got the 1-1. This Ganon is already warping away. He's got some reasonable fire bass. Not that the lane is too worried about health at this point. And of course, we've got silver arrows. We just need 4 shots. Don't have to worry about getting torch glitch or anything like that. We just need 4 arrows into this pig, and then we can call ourselves a day, at least on the lane side.
Yep, absolutely. We are now in phase 4. Should not be a problem at all.
Yeah, probably the worst that can happen to the lane right now is that maybe he takes an accidental fire bat and then it kind of knocks him off the platform. But he's got a really nice triple on Ganon on the second one, so, you know, Lane's holding up his sword, gonna wait for this fanfare, and then he is going to be able to cross this bridge, get your GGs in chat for the lane, making the right call for the seed to go into hookless swap, finding the hook shot. Alright, let's see if we can get official time. 1 hour, 32 minutes, and 47 seconds. The lane finishing, of course, first on our restream. third overall, which is actually quite impressive. So it looks like actually Hitsu 1337 is finished first place with 128.10, followed by Tam, which had a 128.51.
Yeah, GG's to all of those, and of course GG's to the lane, doing a very great job here.
Yeah, actually, so it's like about a 4-minute difference between him and second place. I mean, that's like less than the amount of time you need to do Aga Tower, right? So as you said, Herfy, imagine what would have happened if the lane went to go farm money and yeah, I decided not to climb the tower. But very, very impressive performance here put on here by the lane and by Ari once he finishes up here.
Yeah, absolutely. Ari seems to be having a little less trouble with Agatu here, just defeating him. How does such a big pig turn into such a tiny little bat?
Yeah, that's actually a great question.
And then he just like smashes the top of the pyramid, no problem.
This is the power of the Dark Triforce, Herfy.
Ah, I see.
Alright, so Ari is going to drop into his Ganon falling into Ganon in order to take him down. There we go. So I certainly would imagine no less clean of a fight here from Ari. It looks like there's some pretty nice, at least setup. It's going to probably pretty easily get in this case the 1-1.
Yeah, very nicely done. All perfectly timed out.
These guys make it look so easy for me.
They do.
No damage taken, you know, kind of just avoid those fire bats. You know, the worst thing, they're like, oh, skin, just stand still for phase 3 so I can slash you, so we can just get on with this.
Yeah, I mean, if you watch this, it definitely looks like it shouldn't be a problem, right? Just dodge a little bit to the left or the right and then slash the guy a few times. Not a big deal.
Just push the buttons when you're supposed to push the buttons in the right
exactly.
order.
Ari not having quite as well of a, or as great of a position as the lane had, so he needs to light the torch one more time.
Oh, Ari!
Oh no!
Oh no! Oh no! Oh, but that was such a bad position from
I'm gonna blame this one on you because you were talking about getting knocked off by a fire bat earlier.
I was only talking about the lane getting knocked off, not Ari. I wouldn't want Ari to get knocked off.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Oh man. Okay, so the good news, of course, is that Ari's got at least half a magic bar left, so he should be fine in terms of torches. And also, he has more than 4 arrows. So, just minor time loss.
The worst thing probably that can happen to him now, apart from falling again, which we all hope that will not happen, but now the teleport pattern could be really crappy. But so far it's looking pretty good, not too much time lost here. Alright. Even getting the torch glitch this time.
Good job, Ari.
Oh, barely.
Oh, unfortunate. That was unfortunate. Yeah, the torch glitch, or the torch just ended up going off just the wrong time. But Ari, at least second time around, successful. In order to, so he just needs to be able to walk across this bridge after the fanfare. Get your GGs out in chat for Ari. Amazing execution performance here.
Yeah, very well done by both of these guys. Amazingly played. Well-rounded. It was a pleasure. And looks like the lane is saying in chat, no interview from him today. That's of course okay. We're very sorry about that. We would have loved to hear his thoughts, but no big deal. It's his choice. But on a happier note, we can say hello to Ari here. Welcome, Ari. GG's.
GG's, Ari.
Thanks. Yeah.
Let me just say, I was so ecstatic when you switched to the bow for Lambo's fight. And not only that, you got a 2-cycle Airy. That was amazing.
Yep. Yeah, I had to do it.
It was very much appreciated.
Yeah, it was definitely appreciated. I can tell you that. Clearmouse got very excited.
I mean, well, it's also like not only do you see, you know, full Lamos, which you don't really get to see in random, right? I mean, the fact you got a 2-cycle is even more uncommon. So, otherwise, though, tell us how you felt about the seed.
Well, not great, I guess. Like Light World was a bit of a mess. I don't think there was really a right order to do things in, considering you weren't going to farm money before doing pretty much every other choice. And then, like, most of Dark World was pretty straightforward, and you just got funneled into like doing Swamp Palace. And yeah, I assume some people did it before some other things, which kind of makes sense, I guess. Especially in a qualifier where you want to spike a good result. But yeah, after Light World already didn't feel great, and despite pretty good execution overall, it wasn't enough to make up a lot of time, and the Ganon fall didn't help.
We certainly do appreciate. Yeah, we certainly do appreciate some of your early routing eyeless decisions. Like, did you decided to try and Fairy Death Revival for EDM like early, or was just kind of like a, you know, I have a bug net, I've got a bottle, I've got, you know, I know there's a fairy here, like let's just try it type of thing?
Yeah, after I got the bottle, I was like, okay, well, I already have the bug nets, and it kind of works out. I don't know what, like, I figured Sora would have either the lamp or like some other progression, maybe hookshot. So if I could get money on East of Mountain, even if it wasn't like necessarily Dark World progression, like Dark World Access, I figured it would be worth it to try. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if my hovering was off or if I just got like the bad frame a lot of times, or like a combination of both. But after 3 attempts, not making it was kind of rough.
You managed to hover left for Hookshot Cave though, right? Because it looks like when you're trying to do like the top chest, Hookshot like going also right, like, and also wasn't that successful. So I don't know if there's like a left versus right hover here, like success rate.
Shouldn't matter. Like the hover left was really slow as well, so it didn't feel great. But yeah, I don't know.
I thought it was pretty interesting having you and the lane on specifically for this, because while you were farming money for Zora, he decided to do Dark Aga 1 for his Dark World access. And then you tried to, you know, Fairy Revival Hover over to EDM while he grabbed his hammer from where you got yours, Zora, because he grabbed the 300 from the pod big chest while he was over there, and then went straight to Catfish and mirrored back. And it suddenly lined up again, and then at the end, it was you going to Meyer, Green Pendant, versus him just diving straight into Swamp Palace left side without the hook shot. And you know, all these things, you guys were reasonably close, I would say, the whole seed, despite doing things so extremely differently.
Yeah, that's the good seeds in Rando though, where you actually have divergence that kind of matters, but also doesn't create like a blowout seed. And it's really cool that it gets to actually see a seed like this.
Yeah, we also did see some, I guess, like some ice balance difference, just because, you know, as Herfy said, the lane went to pod early, right? So not only did he get Zora money, he also got the Canis Maria early, and so you got to show us like a more normal route, NMGS route, you know, for ice palace versus he just had icebreaker through.
Yeah, being able to do icebreaker, especially with this like layout, it's very relevant. So that's quite a difference as well. So yeah, all those things definitely make up for the free Aga one. But yeah, aside from the Ganon fall, I'm not too unhappy about like how I played and routed it. I would have been like 5th or 6th, I think, if I didn't have that fall, which would have been like a more than decent result. I'm still pretty happy just finishing top 10 in the qualifiers. Should make for a solid enough seed.
Did we even mention you came in 8th in the qualifier overall here? I'm not sure if you even mentioned that after you came in.
Yeah, no, actually, it looks like so first and second finished, very close with the 128, and then the lane finished with 132, which is about 4 minutes, and then fourth place was Yoshi at 135.44, which is like 3 minutes, and then like it's just like, and then everyone else is kind of like trickling through, right? So you have Iker at 135, Obscure also 136, Zelga 136, and then you finish 137, right? So like everything is like really bunched basically outside of the top four after that. So I think you're like results wise you should be pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. There's still 2 to go, so maybe I can actually finish like top 3 in one of them. That would be great. But but yeah, that's 2 okay ones now. But yeah, I mean, you never know how it goes. Can't be top seed in every qualifier.
That is certainly true. But I mean, it looks like you have a pretty good, pretty decent track record so far. And of course, you always get to drop one, for ultimately, for like the final results too, right? So you look like you're in pretty good shape.
Yeah, for sure. In the end, just qualifying is what matters, and then at this rate, everybody's good. So whether you're like top seed or like 90th, it doesn't really matter. You're going to have to face good people anyway. And, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, and this race though, if you actually just look down like at the people who were in this race, it was a really stacked crowd. Like, I mean, every race seemed stacked, but I don't know, this one seemed even more stacked. So.
Yeah, I mean, weekend, midday for Europe, like morning for like East and West Coast. It's you're gonna have a group of good people.
Yeah. Yourself certainly very much included in that group.
Yeah.
All right, well, I think that's pretty much going to be it from us. This was your 3rd qualifier, right, Ari?
Yeah.
All right, so 2 more to go, basically. I think if you keep up this performance, you should have absolutely no problems at all to get, good seeding in the end. I definitely have no doubts that you'll make it to the top 128 and into the brackets.
I mean, that's certainly the hope, but who knows? Maybe my computer fries like twice in a row.
Well, let's not hope for that. Clearmouse already cursed you with that Ganon fall. I just want to make clear that it was
trying
her
to curse
fault.
The lane.
100% Clearmouse's fault that you fell on Ganon.
Yeah, see, the funny part where I like kind of hopped in on the restream just before I finished on the restream, and Clearmouse was saying something like right into the Ganon fall. So like falling into Ganon, and I was like, yeah, that's certainly what's gonna happen.
See, I told you it was your fault.
We appreciate you still willing to be restreamed though, Eric. So thank you, and thank you to Lane for also agreeing as well. If you're out there listening.
Yeah,
this was a really exciting match to watch. As Herfy mentioned, right? So much divergence, so many different decision points to make. And obviously a very clean execution. It's just really nice race. So.
Yeah, thank you very much for doing the restream, for the commentary and all that. And I'm pretty sure I get to hear both your beautiful voices again soon.
Oh, that would be great.
I certainly hope so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys.
Best of luck to you, and then the upcoming qualifiers, Ari.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely, and best of luck to the lane as well, as we said. Thanks, guys, for watching. Stick around. I think there's a whole bunch of links in the chat if you want to follow us or check out more info on the tournament itself or on SGL itself. That is coming up in November, and we'll see you around again soon.
Just maybe a quick plug. So later tonight at 8 p.m. on SpeedGaming, there's actually going to be a crowd control race between Dante and Andy. You may have heard of these names, both very avid Pug Sprite users. I think this is actually going to be a sponsored to raise money for ALTTP, the tournament later on. So just increase some prize pools. So if you're interested, certainly come back and tune in for that as well. Other than that, Herfy, thanks a lot for commentating this. Super fun. Very exciting. Certainly looking forward to doing this again.
Yeah, of course. Thanks to you as well for commentating with me. Thanks to our runners for being restreamed. Thanks to Lucy and Greeth for tracking for us and keeping track of all the items that were found. And as I was saying earlier, we will see you guys around.
See ya.